Hey, and welcome to this week's video of Wednesdays We Work. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're already a subscriber, welcome back. You do get a little bit of extra love when you subscribe to my channel and you comment in the comment section below sometimes, and you press that like button for love and support from time to time. Per usual, I'm gonna try and give the quick introduction to my channel. We have these Wednesdays We Work, where we're working towards any goals and dreams that we have in our life. For me right now, as the title says, it's focused towards a lot of health, and a part of that is a weight loss journey. Because when I got sick with slow thyroid, I also gained a couple of kilos that I'm now trying to lose, but in a healthy way, both for the mind and also for the body. So in this journey, I'm trying to build healthy habits and healthy routines. And also in all of this, I'm trying to build towards my dream of YouTube, working full-time or part-time sometimes in the future. I'm working towards my studies in 3D, 2D and Japanese, because I do believe I will be able to utilize them in the future. And I have a lot of plans and dreams for the future that I will slowly be able to progress to as I go through these habits and routines, etc. And then I'm doing these videos as a sort of diary for myself, but also as a tool to be able to share information and share different things that I'm learning with you guys. I'm hoping these videos can help you as much as they are helping me. And if you do have any questions or any things that you're wondering or anything that you want to add or anything that you feel is wrong or anything, just write it in the comment section below and I will get back to you. It can also teach other people, so you will not only connect with me and teach me things, you will also be able to teach other people things. Right. But besides this series, my channel is mainly about gaming. I have Friday Fun and Sunday Scare, and I'm trying to squeeze in some Memory Monday, I'm gonna call it. So I love gaming, I do a lot of gaming, and my channel will mainly be about gaming. We have horror games, we have retro games, we have fun games and chill games and action games and all types of different games. So if you do like gaming, after this video, go and check out some gaming videos and just relax with them in the background when maybe you're doing something else. That's how I usually watch gaming videos. I have a lot of studies and other things to do, so I like to watch other people game a little bit while I'm doing my work. So I love to game myself, but in that way I'm kind of gaming even more in some certain ways. So if you kind of like the vibe in here and you kind of look forward to like all the things that could come with this channel and you kind of want to stay in this space, we have a little icon there in the corner. That's the subscribe button corner that you can press anytime under the video. And we also have the usual subscribe button and the notification bell button underneath the video. And with that introduction done, we're gonna get a little bit into the video. I'm a bit sorry for the lighting. I kind of enjoying having the sunlight come in, but since it's a bit cloudy outside also, it kind of goes dark and then brighten and darken and brighten and darken and brighten. I'm contemplating if I should actually close the winds down and we will just have to go with... In a sense, this is more stable for the video, but I kind of enjoyed getting some sunlight in. But I can also kind of understand that might be very distracting for the video. So before I start talking about this topic and everything, I will do a disclaimer as I try to do with stuff like this. I am not an expert. I'm talking through my own experiences. I Google some information and I try to find some good information that I feel are healthy and truthful stuff. But I of course cannot know that everything is the complete 110% truth, because as I said, I am not an expert, I am not a scientist, I am just a normal person that have a big question mark over my head and don't really understand everything. But through Google and my own experiences, I feel like I can share some good information. So when I'm gonna talk about sleep now, will barely be scratching the surface. I will be using a little bit of notes, and I will also be using my phone a little bit for some whole pages. And I am very sorry if these episodes are a bit rambly. I am really not like a super expert in these things, and we will start with how does sleep trouble appear, and it can be through a lot of different things. I think the most common one maybe is stress. And I talked about stress in earlier episodes. Stress can come from a lot of different things, not just a stressful lifestyle. If you have diseases in your body, different type of diseases puts a lot of stress on your body also. Different habits, different routines, different things outside of your control and things inside which you can control, but it might take a lot of work, can cause a lot of stress. So stress can then also cause a lot of sleep troubles. Then we also have overthinking, worries, sleep apnea. Some people do have diseases, medicine. I'm assuming that there are medicine out there that probably can cause some sleep troubles. Anxiety, some people have pains. I've also heard, and I believe a little bit, like certain foods and certain drinks can give you a little bit of sleep troubles. For some people, the surroundings can be disturbing your sleep, like a lot of noise, a lot of light, or just it's too hot or it's too cold. And then just basic things like, is your bed comfortable? Is your pillow comfortable? If things are uncomfortable and such, you might also have trouble falling asleep, staying asleep, or you might wake up in the middle of the night having a little bit of back pain because your bed is not actually really good. So there's quite a lot of things that can disrupt your sleep and can make it difficult to fall asleep and can make it difficult to stay asleep. I can say that I have had sleep troubles a long time of my life. I haven't had sleep troubles all my life. When I was a kid, my sleep was perfectly fine, I think. I can't remember nowadays, of course, but I don't have any memories or such of having troubles with sleep for the pretty much longest time. When I was a kid, no troubles. When I was a teenager, I would say no troubles. I will say it like this: when I was a teenager, I didn't have trouble sleeping, but I did choose a lot to not sleep and stay up late and play games all night and stay up 2-3 days in a row. I only did it once though. It didn't feel good. I just felt like I was invincible when I was a teenager and nothing would happen and I could stay up no matter what, and it was cool to be up late and it was cool to be tired in the day, and like I had no idea when I was a teenager or growing up that sleep was actually really important. I don't know or think they teach you much about that in school. I don't remember being taught that in school at all. At that time my body could handle things, and then continuing towards the age of 20, around 24, I'm not really sure, somewhere around there. Around the age of 24 I started university. A lot of things happened. I will talk about that in the episode coming maybe next time or next time after that, where I'm gonna talk about the 10 most challenging experiences in my life and the things I've learned from them. I will talk about university quite a lot through that episode because it was a very difficult time for me. It was a lot of challenges. But the short version, I will read it. I will read it as I wrote it down. I don't think I had much sleep troubles until like university started. Maybe sometimes I had a little bit trouble of sleep. I've always had social anxiety and some certain different kind of anxieties. So of course that stuff might have made it a little bit harder for me to fall asleep sometimes. But most of the time I don't really remember having a lot of sleep troubles. But when I started university, I started pushing myself a lot through social anxiety and anxieties and a lot of different things. And I started getting extremely stressed, and I kept pushing myself even though I felt really stressed, pushing myself in my social anxieties, in my studies, etc. Like I really wanted to be amongst the ones who were working hard and like getting really good. And then there was a lot of other stuff that was also happening in my life that I will also talk about in the other episode. The other things that were happening outside of my life was putting quite a lot of external pressures, so making me even more stressed. And of course on the insides, because I was pushing a social anxiety and with others' anxieties and etc. I had a lot of internal stress. So stress from the outside, stress from the inside, a lot of stress, a lot of stuff happening. Eventually it started to get a little bit too much. I started to have an ED and I started talking with a counselor. I took a break from it, like summer break, so June, July, August basically you have a summer break, and then I come back to school and I started talking with the counselor again, and then also a psychiatrist. Like I don't know how it works with psychiatrists. This seems to be a little bit different stages. I met one of those who still work as a psychiatrist but can't really do a lot of things that other psychiatrists can do in their work. But with the counselor and the psychiatrist I started working a lot with my social anxiety, which meant I was working with it, but I was also then pushing even more with the social anxiety, because you kind of have to. That's also a thing I will talk about a bit in the other episode, because it's been very challenging. So they helped me work with my social anxiety and some other things that was happening in my life. As my stressful time continued for more than a year, sleep became more and more troublesome. Then school suddenly hit a big bump and I ended up getting insomnia for about 2 months or so. It was towards the last year and like the last stretch of school. Things wasn't really working out and it just became even more and more stressful. I just couldn't solve these things. They didn't want to solve themselves with me. And I started to really crumble underneath it all, and suddenly my body kind of gave up a little bit and I got insomnia. I couldn't sleep. I slept for short periods and I tried to sleep throughout the night, but I just kept waking up and being awake and then falling asleep a little bit, and I was feeling like shit under the day, and my body and mind was really unstable. Like I think I felt a little bit of wobbliness back then also, and it was a lot of things happening. So when talking to my counselor and my psychiatrist and everything, we came to the conclusion that, okay, if I get insomnia and everything, and we couldn't even solve the insomnia with like simple medicines, etc. It just wasn't working really. So we found a solution that school was a big problem of it all, and we made a decision that I should take a break. Like you can take a break from school and then come back to school later on, like a year's break or something like that. So I took a break. Technically I quit school because I never did go back to that school. And slowly I started to build my life together with the tools that I got from the psychiatrist and the counselor, but also through a lot of other things. So I started to get back a little bit of more normal sleeping. The insomnia finally started to disappear. I also worked back from ED, anxiety, stress. I had gone down to like 53 kilos, pretty much underweight, really weak, no muscles, and so on. This is stuff I will be talking about in the episode of challenging stuff. After all of that, my sleep has pretty much never been the same. I keep having trouble sleeping, having trouble falling asleep, and after all of that I have like a new pattern when it comes to my sleep. So I don't sleep throughout the whole night. I sleep maybe 3, 4, 5 hours depending, sometimes 6 hours, that's really good. But usually it's like 3 to 4 hours. Then I wake up and I have to maybe go on the toilet, but I've heard that that's also a pretty normal thing for people to wake up one time at a night after like 4 hours, something like that, and then they do get up a little bit or something and then you go back to sleep. I've heard it's actually a normal thing in the past also for humans, so that's why it doesn't really scare me that much. In the beginning it did feel a little bit weird, but I've kind of learned more and more about sleep and what's like okay and what's not, etc., and how things are, etc. I don't really fear it anymore, and I don't really think it's super weird. So the first 3, 4, or 5 hours, depending, they are most of the time like good sleep. I sleep through it, and then I wake up in the middle of the night and go to the toilet or something like that. And then the rest of the hours though can really depend. Sometimes it's mostly like kind of light sleep, I think. I tend to fall asleep, wake up, and I fall asleep and wake up, fall asleep, wake up, fall. But still it kind of works. I still feel pretty good after this kind of sleep, and that's how it usually is nowadays. One habit that really makes it easier for me to fall asleep is to have something in the background that I can listen to. So I might have a movie or a series that I've seen before many times and I really enjoy. So I can kind of listen to them and just picture what's happening in the scenes, etc., in my head, and then I fall asleep to it. Nowadays I mostly utilize YouTube on my mobile phone, and I listen to someone with a little bit of a nice, calming, funny voice, something, and they might just be playing games and having fun, and then I just listen to that, and it kind of grabs my attention span towards that thing that I'm listening to, and like maybe I've seen it before and I can a little bit picture it in my head. And when it grabs my attention a bit, I don't tend to overthink things or start to think about other things and think about projects. Like, it's not only negative things I'm thinking about, it's also a lot of like positive things. I just think a lot. It might even be like projects or things that I want to do and things that I'm gonna work on, and like, oh, I should do this for my YouTube channel, and maybe I will record this thing, and oh, I would really like to record that game. Oh, that would be fun. And I want to draw this thing. I want to do this thing. Oh, in 3D I can do this and that, and blah blah blah, and so on and so on. So just having something that grabs your attention in a positive, fun way can really calm that brain down quite a lot, and you just zone out into the thing. So even if many people say that watching a lot of YouTube and using the phone a lot and etc. just kind of mushes your brain out, it can be used as a good tool if used in moderation in good ways. But the last couple of years I have slowly but surely been able to sleep a little bit better and fall asleep a little bit faster. It all depends on the night and the week, etc., and what's happening in life. A lot of the time nowadays I do sleep a bit better, I feel. And I'm hoping with my new routines, habits, meditation, and other internal changes that I'm making right now, it will continue to get better and better. And it's like, what have I learned personally throughout all of these experiences? I've learned that sleep is very important. Like, not only through googling and reading a lot of text, like what is beneficial, what does the brain actually do when it falls asleep, what are the things that the body and the brain are working towards, like fixing throughout the night. It's very fascinating stuff, because the brain and the body is doing a lot of things, and I'm gonna count them up a little bit, touching on the surface of the subjects, trying to put it out there so you can realize how much work your brain and body are doing for you when you are sleeping, especially when you're having good sleeps. I have kind of learned and feel like a lot of us do take sleep a little bit for granted, and we take a lot of things that the body does and the things we should eat and drink, etc., and the things we should do for the body, we take it for granted. We might not have that much control of it all the time, because things can just happen. We can get sick and this and that can happen, etc., and change. But still, we can kind of correct some things and habits. We can correct habits and routines, and we can correct our perspective towards things. We can work towards being in more symbiosis with our body, etc. So maybe we will prevent some stuff from happening. I learned to know that I took my body for granted. Of course, I didn't know anything, and I didn't really Google stuff like that. I took it for granted, and I just thought that it things will just continue working. Nowadays, when I try to be really mindful of sleep and I try to really make sure that I sleep a lot and I try to do these different routines and habits of falling asleep a certain time and getting up a certain time, it actually most of the time can make you go through the whole day of not feeling tired and feeling like really good. Not having to nap. Naps are nice though, and it's really good sometimes, so don't underestimate naps either. But it's a lot of things that goes into feeling really good throughout a whole day. I've really had to learn all of this the hard way. I do prefer to feel good and be able to be active and positive throughout my days. So I'm gonna try and scratch a little bit on the surface of what is the damage that can come with long-term troubles. What is the damage that can come with long-term lack of sleep troubles, or even lack of sleep by choice? When I was younger, I did take sleep and everything for granted. So I stayed up a lot of hours throughout the night, and I slept a little bit of too few hours here. And I would say the most classic things that happens with a little bit of lack of sleep or some sleep troubles, like if it's in the short term, most of us has felt and maybe will feel like unmotivated, sad, feeling a bit grumpy, irritated, like overall the mood is affected quite a lot. Like you might also be working slower. It's kind of related to the whole being unmotivated and maybe not feeling like super positive throughout the day because your brain and your body is very tired. You might be working a bit slower, have a hard time concentrating on things, and feeling overall very sluggish. I can definitely relate to this. I felt this a lot of times. Sometimes not really cared about it, but then these later years I really care about it. I can get a little bit frustrated and annoyed, like knowing that, okay, I feel like shit right now because I have some troubles with my sleep. Damn, I hate having troubles with my sleep. Couldn't just every day be like perfect and we would be like up here and I have energy all the time, like. But then we have the matter of fact that continuous regular poor sleep can unfortunately also put you at risk of more serious conditions. We are probably talking like a really long time now, so don't be afraid if you're having just a bit of troubles of sleep. If you're having just a couple of days of troubles of sleep, like of course those classic signs might get a little bit worse and worse throughout those days, but serious conditions might not just come from just a couple of days. It might be that we're talking like more like weeks. You will probably notice when it starts to become like really a long time of troubles and it really becomes more and more of a chronic thing. And if you continue to have troubles of sleeping in like 2-3 weeks, I would say try and call doctor, try and talk with some kind of doctor. Go and meet a doctor if you feel like that is a better choice. Or maybe you need to talk to a counselor or a psychiatrist. It depends on what it is that is causing your sleep troubles. Usually it's the mind, but it can also be medicine and the body. So it's really good to look into it. But if it's a thing you do by choice, like you like to stay up late at night or you're kind of overworking yourself, like you have a lot of deadlines, etc., do be very mindful that rest and sleep is really important. Don't overwork yourself, you might go straight into a wall. So more serious conditions could be heart diseases, diabetes, high blood pressure can shorten your lifespan in the ultimate end. And then I will just go through the things that I've read on the internet now and all the things that can happen. You more often get sick as a lack of sleep can disrupt your immune system. I can relate to this. Every time I've had a lot of more trouble sleeping and I've had a lot of lack of sleep and haven't been sleeping very well, I usually pretty much every time that happened, like almost every time that happened, I got sick, like getting common colds, etc. Long-term lack of sleep and troubles of sleep can cause you to get long-term mood disorders like depression and anxiety, because a lot of chemicals and neurochemical processes in your brain doesn't get to do their work that they need to do. And this I can also relate to, because if I do have a lot of troubles with sleeping, etc., my mood gets really affected by it. I get more irritable, I get more sad, I get more negative. My negative demon just opens his door.
Like, oh, it's easy to open the door today. Hello, welcome. Let's talk about how much we hate ourselves today and how you will not be able to be a YouTuber in the future because of this and that and all of this and that.
So yeah, I can relate to that. Every time I have better sleep and a good amount of sleep and everything, and I feel more strong against my inner demons, and my anxiety has a tendency to really start wavering a lot when I've had a lack of sleep. And I do believe if I would have trouble sleeping for a very long time, if I would fall back into some kind of insomnia or something else would happen and I would not be be able to sleep a lot and it will be a lot of troubles with it. I would probably slowly but surely fall more and more into depression. I've had depression when I was young, like my teenage years, but then I managed to work myself out of it. And as I said, when I do have trouble sleeping, I tend to get more negative and my negative monster comes out and it's just harder to stay positive and everything. So the depression would probably start building up. And then like also like in the stress episode, it may lower your libido, aka your sex drive. It may cause you to have more trouble conceiving. So if you want babies and you have a lot of trouble sleeping, it may actually cause your body to have a little bit of trouble to actually do conceive a baby because of reduced productive hormones. Lack of sleep or sleep troubles can also be a reason to obesity. This due to the leptin level being reduced, the chemical that makes you feel full, and the ghrelin goes up, the hunger stimulating hormone. That basically means that you will be even more hungry, and I can also relate to this again. On the days when I haven't really slept well and I feel a little bit sluggish and tired throughout the day, I do feel a lot more hunger. I do actually want to eat more food because the body wants to have more energy into it, but at the same time you might eat more than your body actually needs overall, and just overall you never really feel like, oh, I'm full. You can just kind of keep eating. So I can relate to this one also when I'm having trouble sleeping. Usually meaning you might feel a lot hungrier throughout the day, having lots of more cravings also. Being sleepy usually means that you might want to have a lot more of the fatty foods and the salty foods and the sugary foods. So those days and those times can be really hard to like, no, I know I'm tired, no, I'm stressed or whatever in my life. I will not have this candy, etc. I should just eat this sandwich and stuff and drink a lot of water, like the things that are actually healthy and good for my body. It's really hard to like resist the candy and everything, like really feeling the cravings. So easier falling for the choices of fatty, sugar, high calorie dense foods, and easier overeating. This might be by a lot, like it really depending. And I do really believe in the science and all of that, that getting a lot of excess fat on your body is not healthy. Having a little bit of excess fat is not the end of the world, and having some extra fat on your body is actually essential for survival, etc. But having a lot of excess fat is not a healthy thing. All of that is kind of another topic when we're going into body positivity and all of that. Of course, you can love your body and we should all be loved and respected and accepted, etc. But we should also at the same time accept that a lot of excess fat on the body is not a healthy thing. But all of that is another topic. It's a big topic. So here I'm going into the topic of diabetes, which is related to a lot of excess fat, which is also related to lack of sleep. Getting a lot of excess fat, the more you get, the greater the risk becomes, as your muscles and tissue cells become more resistant to your own insulin. So when you get more and more fat in your body, muscles and the tissue cells become more resistant to your own insulin. The less you sleep, usually less than 5 hours a night very often, may also increase the risk of diabetes. And this is due to missing some deep sleep. The body may be changing the way it processes glucose, which the body uses for energy. Glucose is a type of sugar produced in the body. Insulin, glucagon, kind of sounds like a Pokemon. Another hormone level rise and fall to keep blood sugar normal. I don't know if that was even understandable. In the end, I didn't fully understand what I even wrote myself. But it's like, if you sleep less than 5 hours a night very often, you might be missing out on some deep sleep. And when you miss out on some deep sleep or a lot of deep sleep, the body may start changing the way it processes glucose. And glucose is like the sugar in your body. The body uses glucose for energy. And insulin hormone is the thing that our body produces to take care of the glucose. And if we get more and more excess fat on our body, our muscles and our tissue cells becomes more resistant to your own insulin hormone. So suddenly the body can't really handle all of the glucose that's in your body, and that's why your body's sugar levels rises and falls, etc. If it starts to get too high, then you are starting to get diabetes. So from the things that I've just scratched on the surface and tried to get a little bit into, we can tell that the body is doing a lot of things. The body per se is doing a lot of things, but the brain is also doing a lot of things. The brain is also doing a lot of neurochemical processes and emptying out a lot of toxic stuff from our brain and emptying out a lot of like memory banks, etc. Like neurochemical stuff. It's like, it's very interesting, but I'm not very knowledgeable in it. But overall, the brain and the body is doing a lot when we're sleeping and going through the different cycles and REM sleep, and it's really important for the body to get to go through the processes of all of this. So sleep is shown to take care of so many different chemicals, hormones, and other connections in the brain and the body. Like, there are some homepages that go through a lot of this. They are like easier homepages that actually put out like good information about these things. There are also more in-depth homepages where we do actually have professionals that has like studied these things and gone more into depth, and they're explaining a little bit more complex things about the brain and everything. So they're speaking a lot of the science and details in all of it. Like, I'm gonna see if I can read some bits and pieces here from some homepages that I did go into. National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke homepage writes a bit of this in the beginning. Quality sleep and getting enough of it at the right times is as essential to survival as food and water, meaning it's very important. And try to listen to this, because this is very important stuff. Without sleep, you can't form or maintain the pathways in your brain that let you learn and create new memories, and it's harder to concentrate and respond quickly. They have been saying that their brain are like starting to get a bit slower. Of course, growing up and getting older and older, the brain will start to get more sluggish. But they do talk a lot about, like, if you do take care of your sleep and your routines and your food and your water, etc., and you do some kind of exercises for the brain, like Sudoku and playing games, your brain will kind of work and stay active, and you can continue to have quite of an active and good brain for a long time in your life. Sleep is important to a number of brain functions, including how nerve cells, neurons, communicate with each other. In fact, your brain and body stay remarkably active while you sleep. Recent findings suggest that sleep plays a housekeeping role that removes toxins in your brain that builds up while you're awake. Everyone needs sleep, but its biological purpose remains a mystery. Sleep affects almost every type of tissue and system in the body, from the brain, heart, and lungs to metabolism, immune function, mood, and disease resistance. This is one of the pages I will put a link to in the descriptions down below if you want to go in and read more. If you want to go in and read more yourself, spread the importance of sleep and rest around. And this is the things that I've been talking about. Research shows that a chronic lack of sleep or getting poor quality sleep increases the risk of disorders including high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, depression, and obesity. Sleep is a complex and dynamic process that affects how you function in ways scientists are now beginning to understand. This booklet describes how your need for sleep is regulated and what happens in the brain during sleep. And this is when it's starting to get into a little bit of more complex words and complex things in different parts of your brain, and I don't know if I should actually read all of this in this episode. The hypothalamus. Yeah, I should not read this because I can't even pronounce the words. Within the hypothalamus is the suprachiasma. I'm sorry. Anyways, this homepage is... Oh, you can do this. This homepage has a lot of information, and it goes between like different parts of the brain, talking about how it's connecting with each other and what kind of work they're doing and how it's connected with the body and stuff like that, and how it works and why we fall asleep and how we wake up and why it might not really be working for some people and why it is working for most people. How much sleep do you need? Your need for sleep and your sleep patterns change as you age, but this varies significantly across individuals of the same age. There is no magic number of sleep hours that works for everybody of the same age. Babies initially sleep as much as 16 to 18 hours per day. That's a lot of sleep. Which may boost growth and development, especially of the brain. School-age children and teens on average need about 9.5 hours of sleep per night. Most adults need 7 to 9 hours of sleep at night, but after age 60, nighttime sleep tends to be shorter, lighter, and interrupted by multiple awakenings. I'm already old because I already have that. How will I sleep when I get old? Who knows? Elderly people are also more likely to take medications that interfere with sleep. In general, people are getting less sleep than they need due to longer work hours and the availability of around-the-clock entertainment and other activities. Many people feel that they can catch up on missed sleep during the weekend, but depending on how sleep deprived they are, sleeping longer on the weekends may not be adequate. They talk about dreaming, the roles of genes and neurotransmitters, tracking sleep through smart technology, tips for getting a good night's sleep. I can actually read through this also if you don't want to read the whole homepage about everything, etc. There are a lot of homepages with tips for good night's sleep, so there are a lot of tips out there on the internet. So I will put some more of the tips here, like maybe you will be reminded of something if you have some trouble sleeping. You will get some new tips that maybe you can utilize if you do get some trouble sleeping or you want to try something new to work on your sleeping patterns. Getting enough sleep is good for your health. Here are a few tips to improve your sleep. Set a schedule. Go to bed and wake up at the same time each day. That's what I'm doing right now and it's working really well. I feel so much better than all of the years and times before in my life where I did not have a good sleeping pattern. Exercise 20 to 30 minutes a day, but no later than a few hours before going to bed. So exercise can take out a bit more of energy from your body, etc. So you're not feeling as too energized when you're going to bed at night. I think that's what they mean. It could also be a lot of other chemicals throughout your body and hormones, etc. that do react with exercise. Avoid caffeine and nicotine late in the day and alcoholic drinks before bed. Some people say that they don't get affected by this at all. I don't know how it works because I don't drink coffee or barely any caffeine at all. There may be some caffeine in the stuff that I do drink and eat, etc. I haven't really checked. I don't drink coffee, I don't drink a lot of these energy drinks. And I don't smoke and I don't do anything of that, so I don't really get all of that in me. I don't know really how all that works. And I barely drink any alcohol at all either, so... relax before bed. Try a warm bath, reading, or another relaxing routine. I would say these do work. A warm bath or a warm shower or something warms you up and makes you a little bit more tired. Coldness usually makes a person wake up and warm stuff makes you fall asleep a little bit. Reading, I would also say reading something, whatever, not using your phone, using a book or reading manga even, but using books, not screens. So reading something that is not screens and stuff can really help you fall asleep. Or another relaxing routine could be, for example, I would say maybe doing some meditation. I've started doing a little bit of meditation and short meditations, sometimes a little bit of longer meditations, and that can really help you wind down and get the heart rates slower, etc. And it can make you quite sleepy when you really get into it. Another relaxing routine, maybe just lying in bed and having some really calm, nice music on. Even for me, just putting on some kind of funny YouTube clip of some good YouTuber or something can be for me really relaxing. Of course it's a screen, but I always have on the orange light thing, so I never have blue light on my phone actually. But overall, just doing that thing that relaxes you create a room for sleep. Avoid bright lights and loud sounds. Some people don't really care about those things at all. I'm really sensitive to light and I'm really sensitive to sounds. Really sensitive to sounds. When it starts to get brighter outside, I have to hang an extra thick thing over the window so it's extra dark. At nights when I turn off my computer, I actually have to unplug some of the cords because they are quite old and they screech a lot. Electronic screeching, and I can hear that little sound and it annoys me so much when I'm gonna go to sleep. Keep the room at a comfortable temperature. They say that as humans the body kind of prefer to sleep in a room that is kind of around 19 to 20 degrees. I think it's even 18, 19 degrees actually. It's supposed to be kind of cool in the room. Not too cold, but kind of cool. But that's also a difference. Some people don't even care about that. Some people feel like it doesn't bother them at all. And don't watch TV or have a computer in your room. That's an example where for me it actually kind of works to have something with noise, but I do make sure if I have YouTube on my phone, it doesn't replay videos and continue for hours. It just does one video, and if I don't fall asleep throughout that video, I just put on another one, and then another time of that video I fall asleep sometimes and the phone will turn itself off. The same goes with if I have a movie on or series on, I make sure that the TV and everything will turn itself off after an hour or something like that. So after a little bit I've fallen asleep and then eventually the TV and everything will turn off and it will not bother me anymore. Don't lie in bed awake. If you can't go to sleep, do something else like reading or listening to music until you feel tired. This is really a good tip. I feel like it's a bit hard though from time to time to know when you should actually really get up. Some homepages have the tip that you shouldn't lie awake in bed in a very long time. But at the same time, for me, that has a lot of trouble falling asleep. I feel like personally I should try and lie in bed for 1.5 hours to try and fall asleep and see if I fall asleep under this time. But if I don't fall asleep after an hour, I might actually consider like sitting up, walking up, doing something else, go to the toilet, drink some water, again put on the lights, read a little bit in a book, or like read a little bit in a book or listen to some music as they suggested. I know one time I was really having trouble sleeping and I laid awake for quite a while, and I was really contemplating like, what should I do? Should I get up and do something? And after like 2 or 2.5 hours, I did get up just for a little bit and just went to the toilet. And just by getting up a little bit and just walking out and doing something, I actually became tired. I actually became very tired immediately, and then I fell asleep like after just 10 minutes or something. See a doctor if you have a problem sleeping or if you feel unusually tired during the day. Most sleep disorders can be treated effectively. So if you do continue to have trouble falling asleep, you have a lot of troublesome thoughts or a lot of stuff is happening in your life, it might be very good to talk with a counselor or a psychiatrist. Maybe just talking about stuff and getting some feedback might actually make it easier for you to fall asleep. You might actually feel a little bit relieved or like supported, etc. So you might have a little bit easier of a time to fall asleep. And when you fall asleep and you get a little bit more like good sleep, then the days after will even become a little bit easier to handle and things might not feel as bad continuously. And then slowly but surely you might be able to work through the problems and go back to a more normal state of sleeping and etc. Or find a way to be able to sleep good while having some troubles in your life. Also, the same goes with like seeing a doctor if it's actually some underlying problem that might be causing your body to not be able to sleep. For example, sleep apnea is one of those quite common diseases. So I've kept saying through the videos like good night's sleep, but what is actually considered a good night's sleep. So on the homepage here kind of put it together quite nicely. A good night's sleep can be described as falling asleep easily, not fully awakening during the night, waking up when expected, not earlier, feeling refreshed in the morning. So yeah, that's like the basic things. Again though, they're not mentioning the fact that some people do awake after like 4 hours or something, like they sleep a couple of hours and then they awake and then they go back to sleep. And they say that that was actually a normal thing in the human history. Don't be like discouraged or sad or annoyed or feel like it's a dangerous thing if you do awake one time during the night. If you do awake a lot of times during the night, that is a bigger problem. But if you just awake like one or maybe twice a night, that's not the end of the world, I believe. But this homepage is also mentioning the fact of light sleepers and heavy sleepers. I'm a light sleeper. Like a lot of stuff can easily wake me up. A little bit of too much light throughout the room can wake me up. Like some kind of random noise that I'm not really used to or whatever can wake me up. And then we also have the heavy sleepers that doesn't really wake up from anything. So I don't know what's better and what's worse. I guess being a little bit more of a heavy sleeper is a better thing in the long... I guess it's a little bit of a better thing in the big picture of everything. So overall, maybe a little bit of a confusing episode. Hopefully I at least got the point through that there are a lot of important things that the brain and the body are doing while we're sleeping, and it's very important to give our body the rest and sleep so that the body can do all of these processes. That way in the long term can continue to be quite healthy, having proper functioning in the future. Watching this video might have given you some good tips and things to think about and things to maybe teach others also, and maybe it's like spread the thing that, okay, don't play around too much with your sleep. Get your sleep, people. But again, with these kind of episodes, I don't want anyone to like start feeling completely stressed out and feel like, oh my god, this is the end of the world. Balance. Being aware of things, learning about things, and knowing that maybe not push things too far is a really good thing. But also knowing that one night of bad sleep is not the end of the world. 2 nights, still not the end of the world. You might start feeling kind of crappy and sluggish and bad from a couple of nights of bad sleep, but it might not mean that a lot of shitty things will happen from that. If you take my case, for example, I had insomnia for 8 weeks and nothing really happened with my body from that. Yes, I've had trouble sleeping since then. My sleeping pattern kind of changed and everything, but I've still managed to have a lot of, like, if you have followed my series, here's a link to that. Like in some episodes ago, I did say that I have tons of energy right now. Things are feeling really good in my body and my mind and everything. Those 8 weeks of insomnia didn't really do that much damage to my body. I don't think it barely did any damage at all. And I've had continuous trouble sleeping since then for so many years. And I still function pretty normally. And a lot of things that do happens in life, you can usually maybe work around a little bit, or you can find solutions to it. Or you can even reverse some of the things that happens in life. And as I read in one of the articles, lack of sleep is kind of reversible. If you do get good sleep in a long period, you kind of are you're kind of letting the body reverse a little bit of that lack of sleep that you had for a period. Most of all, I hope you really understand how important sleep is for the body. But from here, I'm gonna stop talking about sleep now. If you do have any questions, or something was very confusing, or you want more information on something, or you want to just ask something, or you feel like you wanna add to the information, etc., write in the comment section below. I will get back to you. So as these Wednesdays We Work are a little bit of my diary also with health and my weight loss journey, I will give a sweet and short update of how it's going in my life for those who are interested. So one of the updates is that my wobbliness is a little bit back. It's not as bad as before, and really not at the same amount. But as I mentioned a couple of episodes ago, it feels like it's kind of related to my neck and working out, etc. I'm not really sure. So eventually I know that I will have to try and go and see a doctor about things and kind of check my health a bit. But not right now. Then the second update, the scale of the weight, sometimes it feels a little bit like, why do I show the scale of the weight all the time? It feels like the very typical popular thing to do, like, oh, this is the scale weight. But in the end, the scale weight doesn't really mean that much, but overall, I'm still kind of at the same weight area. It went up to 78.0. I have good reasons. Like on Saturday it was actually a big celebration, and on Sunday it was a birthday. It was a bit of cake, and it was a little bit of candy and chips and the soda yesterday night. I really wanted some of it. And Saturday was the big celebration, so we also had some. So we also went by and ate burger. I did plan out my burger, so I just had a 45-gram burger with a lot of salad and stuff. And I didn't have a soda, I just took some water, and I also tested out their sweet potato fries. It was really good. So overall, that burger and everything was about 600 calories instead of how it usually can be over 1,000 calories. And then later in the evening we had a big celebration dinner, so it was an appetizer and a main course and a dessert, which was really, really tasty. And that evening I didn't have anything extra after that because I was really full. I think I had some candy that day also. Yesterday, Sunday, we had more of that celebration dinner because it was a lot of food, and we had more of it on Sunday. So we ate the rest of that, and I was the only one that was really, really hungry. So I ended up maybe eating a bit more than everyone else. And then at the evening I was really craving to have some of the candy that I bought and some chips and a soda. So I just took a bowl, put a couple of candy bits in there and a little bit of crisp over that, and then a soda. So it wasn't like super much. Sunday ended up being towards 3,000 calories, which means it's a little bit up towards 2,500 calories, give or take, which is kind of towards the amount that my body can kind of handle these days. Saturday towards Sunday I ended up gaining about half a kilo. And then since I kind of pushed it a little bit yesterday, also Sunday towards today, Monday, I ended up gaining another half kilo. But the good news in all of this is that when the week started, I decided to go back to a deficit. I had been maintaining for 1.5 weeks, and then I decided now to try this refeed kind of deal. So I went back to a little bit of a deficit throughout the week, and I steadily lost weight. So on Saturday morning I was actually at 76.9 kilos, and then I went up again because we ate quite a lot of stuff through this weekend, and I'm not gonna feel bad about it because it was really nice. So then from today throughout this week I will be in a deficit again, and the next weekend we don't have anything to celebrate, etc. So this week will be a lot more calmer when it comes to food and the amount of calories intake. I will continue to be working out, and then next week we will see if I will go back to maintaining and pushing a little bit in the workouts again, or if I will do yet another deficit week and then go back to maintaining. The focus under these deficit weeks are the fact that I'm in a deficit and I'm maintaining my muscles, so the body knows that I still need the muscles, and I need the muscles that I've built so far. So I'm pushing a little bit. So even if the scale weight went up a little bit, it's because of the weekend. The deficit actually worked this week and I lost a little bit of weight. And then this week I will continue in the deficit and hopefully now lose a bit of weight again. So if we hadn't had the celebratory Saturday and the birthday on Sunday, I might have actually been able to come on here and say that, oh, my scale weight is down at like 76 point something. But it is what it is. We gotta live life also while we're doing this journey. We gotta also remember that it is a journey. It's not a sprint. We shouldn't feel bad for a lot of things that happens throughout the journey. Otherwise than all of that, I'm feeling really good and I'm pushing with YouTube, and I've actually redone my schedule a little bit again, and I feel like if I can really keep to my schedule and keep discipline and keep like going throughout the schedule and just doing things, and I might be able to I'm gonna test this. I'm gonna test this these coming weeks. I might be able to also start posting some Memory Monday videos. That's gonna be like older games, retro games, a lot of older games that I have and I haven't really played through, etc. So I'm gonna test this. I'm gonna see a little bit and see what kind of games I can put on that kind of day, because the thing is, some of the older games can still clash a little bit with the fact that we have Friday Fun and Sunday Scare. So some of them are scary games and some of them like... But with that said, I'm gonna end the video here. If you're still here by the end of the video, I thank you so very much for watching the whole video. If you haven't subscribed, you have the subscribe button right there, or subscribe button underneath and the notification bell button. I do also post on Instagram and the Twitter when my videos are coming up, so do go to one of those places and follow me there if you want like notification that way. I do also post some other fun stuff in my life happening now and then, or other updates that are going on in my life. If you like this video or anything in the video, please press that thumbs up button for love and support. And if you have any questions or anything you're wondering or anything you want to add to all of this, do write in the comment section below. And if you do enjoy watching gameplay videos, do consider going and watching some of my gameplay videos. We have Friday Fun and Sunday Scare coming out this week, and also hopefully a Memory Monday video. So look forward to those, and then for these Wednesdays We Work, I will see you in the next episode coming out next Wednesday. So have a really nice day and a really great week, and stay strong, trooper. Bye!